Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. I'm going to do a little bit different video today, and I'm actually going to go into Wireshark to analyze some network traffic on my local RabbitMQ instance. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have some connection to RabbitMQ. So in my example, I'm going to be a RabbitMQ service, and upon building of my service, I connect to my cluster here. So I have port 5672, 73, and 74 open on my laptop, and I'm connected to that. So let me go into Wireshark. So when you open it for the first time, if you are running it on, if you want to analyze traffic on a Mac on localhost, you're going to want to go to the loopback. Obviously, if you're connected to like a server or something, you probably want to go to, either Wi-Fi or Ethernet, whatever you're connected to. But let's go into loopback. And all right, so when you open Wireshark and you go into your loopback, if you're on, if you're capturing localhost traffic, I set up a couple buttons here for filters. I am going to click local RabbitMQ. You can see that it applies a filter for AMQP. And you can see that there's actually no traffic right now. So if you go into your RabbitMQ, whatever application you have connected to RabbitMQ, for me, it's going to be just my retry Rabbit application. So let me refresh that, load data, and I'm going to send just a message there. So if we go back to Wireshark, you can see that I'm now getting some traffic there for that. If you don't see traffic, by the way, you might need to adjust your filter for AMQP. And the way you do that is if you go into preferences, and you go into your protocols, and you scroll down until you find AMQP. You might need to adjust which ports are you have set here. So this is actually set the TCP port over TCP ports. Default is 5672. I'm actually going to dial that down to 5672 to 5674. So you'll need to specify your specific ports that you want to listen to. For me, it's going to be 72 to 74 because I have a cluster of 3 different RabbitMQ nodes, right? So whatever port you have set up, by default, RabbitMQ uses 5672. So you want to, let's go ahead and actually apply that and then hit OK. You can see we still have connections. So you can see if, for example, we were to click on this one packet here, you can see that this is connected to, or this traffic apparently went over port 5673. So this is traffic going to that RabbitMQ node within the cluster. And you can see the packet here itself. And let me close that out there. So what the traffic I'm generating is I'm publishing a message to a queue. So let me just publish a couple more of these. And let me actually go into that, I guess, to show you the queue. I believe it's going to the engine queue. Yeah. So I'm publishing traffic to this queue. It's just a quorum queue, again, inside that cluster. And let me actually stop capturing. And then let me go to here, and you can see a couple basic publish packets were sent with looks like 282 bytes. Another thing that you may want to consider as well, if you go into preferences and you go into appearance and then layout, I have set up to show the packet diagram in pane 3. So if whatever, you can select whatever you want, but I have packet diagram selected just to make that clear. But it's actually kind of neat because you can see what the frame looks like for AMQP. So you can see, let me go into this packet here. If you drill down to one of these, let me drill all these down. you can see like payload, and when you click it, it'll highlight where on the message frame it is. You can see length, and if you right-click the payload because it's encoded, and you go to show packet bytes, you can see in plain, in plain text my JSON payload. So you can see I'm sending first name and last name. So it's pretty easy to monitor traffic for RabbitMQ because you can narrow it down by AMQP protocol, and then you can see in plain text, assuming you're not using SSL, you can see the actual structure of the message. If you are using SSL, you'll have to just set up your, I believe you'll have to set up the encryption settings within Wireshark. But for me in particular, just because I am just connected to my local host, I'm not using SSL currently. So, but you can see things like the heartbeat that is being sent every so often. You can see the basic publishes. You can see that. Let me actually go back to here and then let me load this data. And when I hit load, all it's doing is going out and getting messages from a stream type queue. So if I hit load data, you should see. Oh, I'm not capturing. Hold on. Let me continue without saving, and let me do that. Let me load this again. Okay. All right. Let me stop this. So you can see here we have basic deliver. It gives you the X is the exchange, I believe, or it could be the queue. Let me check. Actually, I forget arguments. Yeah, exchange is engine. So you can see clear here where arguments lies on the actual frame itself. So arguments is right here. And see that, see, length, arguments, you can see what consumer tag it is, the delivery tag, whether it's been redelivered, the exchange, the routing key, which those are actually, those are very vital pieces of information. So you can see pretty much everything. And again, if I were to go to preferences, and let's say you don't want to see, the packet diagram, I think the default is packet bytes. So you can see like this is the packet of information that's been sent over the wire, right? On my or TCP. So this is the actual packet itself. Obviously, it's not really readable to the human eye. The part that we're primarily interested in probably is going to be the payload that's being sent. But you can see all the information right there. Let me do something. I'm going to adjust my filter. So I'm actually going to stop this. And I'm going to adjust my filter to say TCP port. Yeah, that's the one I want. That's what I did earlier. I'm going to adjust my thing there. Okay. And I want to see the right there. Okay. Synac. Okay. So you have to adjust this a little bit, but I believe the terminated connection would be this packet here, I want to say. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And you might need to you might need to adjust your filter to look for TCP. But you should see a fin, and you can see fin, ACK, and then, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, let me adjust this, continue without saving, and I am capturing packets. Let me stop this. Okay, there we go. So these are the packets I captured when I terminated my connection. So the instance went down. You can see that now I can look for these packets. So you can see this is where the connection would have ended here. And I can see connection start here. Okay, so you can get a pretty good gauge as to how long the connection persisted for. But you can also, if you need to, see if the connection comes back alive and how long it took to come back alive. Because sometimes RabbitMQ connections don't like to reestablish themselves depending on your implementation on the server I'm talking about. But this could be a pretty good way to see, just given if you are capturing network traffic, to see what exactly the connection is looking like, what it's doing. But yeah, that's really all I want to cover. There's a lot to look at. Obviously, it kind of depends on what you're trying to do when you're looking at network packets. But for RabbitMQ, it's pretty handy, especially like, if you do, here, I'm going to add this to here. So local RabbitMQ TCP, I'll just call it that. Look at local RabbitMQ, which is AMQP. And also you can pull up the local RabbitMQ TCP as well. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show. So thank you all for watching. And I will see you all in the next one.